Homie, you already know that John's a total weirdo that can't seem to figure out life. A very relatable and all-around flawed dude. But his cat Garfield is even more flawed, always falling into nasty habits.
But isn't that just how it works?
True, but John's relentless love for Garfield, despite his flaws, actually completes him and makes him a better person.
The cat completes the man?
Exactamundo, Brodito. Let's unpack this depth and explore the very reasoning that Garfield makes John a better man.
Let's go back in time, we can just hit rewind. What a terrific notion, it's cartoon commotion.
Time and time again, Garfield brought John all the way to his breaking point.
Here, take my money and my credit cards and my wallet.
In the series Garfield and Friends, John was constantly putting up with Garfield's bad behavior and attitude. Remember the episode Good Cat, Bad Cat? Garfield was seriously struggling with right and wrong. It was the whole shoulder angel, shoulder devil bit. It's a total classic. But this time around, we get to see Garfield's inner turmoil and overcoming his desires to misbehave for John. Unfortunately, Garfield gave in to his terrible temptations and wound up tormenting John, Odie, and even the mailman all day long.
You didn't tamper with the power mower, did you?
John just couldn't figure him out. This episode had John's most hysterical response to Garfield's antics ever recorded.
Every so often something gets into you and you do these things, and I don't know why.
Turns out during this episode, John was waiting for a package delivering a custom gift for Garfield, a mug with his name printed on it. This brings the story full circle because the opening scene was Garfield drinking coffee and just expressing how much he loves it. John very well knew that he loved coffee, so this was a very thoughtful gift.
But you're still my cat, and I'm still gonna give you the gift I ordered for you. Here.
You really gotta zone in on that line there, homie. But you're still my cat. John is a better man for loving Garfield when Garfield chose to be practically unlovable. Due to Garfield's roughhousing with the package earlier, the mug shattered into dust. A strong reminder that bad does not equal good outcomes. Garfield's never allowed to really learn this lesson for very long because then the show wouldn't be that funny. But we do know that he isn't truly all that bad because in multiple episodes and in specials, Garfield does overcome his naughty side in favor of the good. But in this case, Garfield messed up royally, and John still forgave him. Too true, Jiggy Dude. There is more to this than just forgiveness. The love that John has for his cat doesn't end here, homie. Let's fast forward all the way to the very last Garfield special, Garfield Gets a Life. Yeah, that is an excellent point, Jiggy. This special totally could have been called John Arbuckle Gets a Life. But obviously, that doesn't really have the same commercial potential. You dig?
Okay. Hey, isn't that special with John's weird dance scene?
Well, yeah, but it's really more about the story than that dance scene, dude.
Oh, it's a little cringy to say the least.
Sure, but that's only a moment, a little blip in the whole deal.
But that dude's got the moves.
Ah, dude, we get it. Now, to really mix it up, we gotta flip the script on this whole story. Up till now, we've been talking solely about how Garfield's misbehaved, and that's a real struggle. But this special was all about how Garfield went along with John in search of a social life. Garfield got the book on how to make friends off the shelf in the living room and followed John all over town as he followed its instructions. But picking up on the art form of charisma isn't exactly something you could just read and learn. John figured that out pretty quickly. He almost gave up entirely until he heard an ad on the television for the Lorenzo School for the Personality Impaired.
There's help for you at the Lorenzo School for the Personality Impaired.
I wonder if they could help me.
And that's when he decided to give it one final shot. It was time for professional help. I mean, if you could even really call this guy a professional, it seemed like he was also struggling with his own personality. Well, John learned something in class, all right. He learned that he was so busy getting wrapped up in all of what other people thought he should be and what he is, that he wasn't really being himself. He learned this when he found someone else that was going through the same sort of thing, a woman by the name of Mona, and they really hit it off. John Arbuckle meeting someone like him was just too good to be true. Unfortunately, that is true, Jiggy Dude. It was too good to be true. It did not last. It took a little bit, but as soon as she started sneezing and we discovered that she had a severe cat allergy, it all clicked. John gave some serious thought to this issue, suggesting that she take medicine for her allergies, but she explained that nothing really works for her. In major desperation, he even tossed out the idea of shaving his cat.
What if I shaved my cat?
Garfield wasn't too into that idea at all. But still, John is a desperate, love-hungry dude who wasn't ready to let go of such a fantastic relationship that hadn't even begun yet.
We could really have been something, you and me.
And though it meant losing the potential love of his life, he still chose Garfield over her, which surprised even Garfield. This love story wasn't really about the romance that could have been with him and Mona. It was about the bond between John and Garfield that was already there. I know what you're thinking. That about covers it, right? What else is there?
Oh, wow, I was thinking that.
Good. That means the course I took in advanced mind reading techniques was worth it after all. No. We're not through just yet. We've got a whole other episode to revisit, an episode that told us that there's an upside to Garfield's mischief for John. Episode 4's segment called Nothing to Sneeze At was the classic tale of Garfield's allergies getting him a trip to the vet. And of course, this was a thrill for John because he could again ask Liz, the vet, out on a date. Liz, who had it with all of the petty begging from John, finally agreed to go out with him. For probably the first time in the history of forever, everything felt like it was going pretty smoothly for John. Except for the fact that Garfield and his sneezing schnauzer came along with them. He was being practically unbearable, making this date a complete catastrophe. Liz was out, and John was depressed. She bailed. She ditched him. He rightfully called Garfield out for the whole deal, but then Liz came back. Well, apparently she was ultra stoked that he loves his cat as much as he does. I'm honestly surprised that she didn't pick up on this sooner. She's a veterinarian. Why did you not make this connection? Garfield's behavior, Garfield being present in John's life no matter where he is the reason that Liz even bothered to give him another shot. John's character shows us to look for the good in other people. Now, I'm not suggesting that everyone's always good, but we'd probably all be a lot better off if we didn't stick with that negative point of view. We've got to be strong enough to chill out and cut out the bad vibes, able to see others in a more positive light. And with that, we can see better outcomes. Like Liz here. She came back for John's heart. And more specifically, she came back because John loves Garfield. Hey homie, you new in the neighborhood? I'm Cade, your favorite cartoon weirdo, and this is my pig Jiggy. The pig that digs the jig. Here on Cartoon Commotion, it's our mission to rewind, relive, and reflect with you on the greatness that was 80s and 90s cartoons, flipping the script for a new perspective in your life today. If you dug this episode, we had 2 other Garfield episodes now. One in particular focused on how the earlier specials were more dramatic and dark, and that oddly enough, that wasn't such a bad thing. You might want to check that one out next. Otherwise, keep it locked in, homie, and keep it unreal, cause there's more where that came from.